Some of the main outcomes we can probably expect from the summit is some kind of security and defence pact or agreement. The big thing to look out for is whether that enables the UK to access EU funds for defence spending and whether it enables closer EU cooperation on defence and military planning beyond what already exists, which at the moment are just some regular dialogues on shared security issues. On trade, we should look out for whether there might be some deals on the UK aligning with the EU in some specific sectors, particularly what's called SPS, which means animal and plant products. And we should also look out for whether there might be some agreements on mobility, so whether young people from the EU can come and study and work in the UK for a specified period of time, whether qualified professionals on either side can move between the two. Those are probably the three areas where we're likely to see some movement, but the devil will be in the details for all of these issues.
Cap number? Okay. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Some of the key sticking points on security and defence are whether the EU allows UK defence companies to access some of its defence funds. The EU is concerned about becoming overly reliant or overly tied into military alignments with third countries, i.e. countries that are not members of the European Union. On trade, the issues are pretty familiar. The UK has some red lines. Its government set out in its manifesto before it won the election in July that it did not want to join an EU customs union, did not want to be part of the single market, and did not want to sign up to freedom of movement of people between the EU and the UK. For its part, the EU is consistently worried about cherry picking, i.e. the idea that the UK as a country outside of the EU gets to enjoy some of the benefits of the single market in some areas without signing up to the full package. And they're worried about that because it undermines this idea of the EU as a single coherent project where members get certain benefits but also certain responsibilities.
Now, of course, there will be issues which are difficult to resolve and on areas on which we will stand firm. There will be no return to freedom of movement, no return to the customs union, no return to the single market. But we will find constructive ways to work together and deliver for the British people.
Ouais, vas-y, mets-toi à gauche, ouais.
The broader geopolitical context, the fact that the EU and the UK are both worried about a more unpredictable America, have to deal with the threat from Russia and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, means that we might see some progress on those long-standing sticking points because both sides recognise that they share some consistent interests and consistent risks.
So this is all part of you've got to adapt the fit. Particularly those that come back from the project. Exactly right. Yeah. It's not just so easy. Yeah. No.
The bigger question here is whether we're looking at a generational shift in America, whether even after this Trump administration, even with a different president, we will see a US that is much less inclined to spend the time, the resources to station the troops, to focus its diplomatic bandwidth on European security, and is much more concerned on focusing on the risk from China or having more of a presence in the Indo-Pacific. That is a significant change in the US's security posture, and that requires a response from Europeans, not necessarily just spending more on defence, but spending together, planning together, thinking about the type of shared military capabilities that are needed to defend the continent.
You bring it up, Howard. This is our great Secretary of Commerce. So if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. With this deal, the UK joins the United States in affirming that reciprocity and fairness is an essential and vital principle of international trade.
And just by happenstance, we have the Prime Minister on the phone, and we were great allies. If they like them better, and we make great products, they'll be buying those products, but they were not available.